trying to sow discord. And a lot of cowards will say, just keep me safe. The stock market plunged by 5,000 points. Arrest them. And the yuppies will line up and say, arrest Alex Jones. He's the reason the stock market went down. And you'll see a lot of others, people we thought our friends in Congress, they'll suddenly line up and agree. That's preposterous to say that criminal elements in government or corporations release the bioweapon. Yes, it's yelling fire in a theater. Arrest anyone that says it. And that's what they're priming for. And then the Civil War starts because, yeah, most people when the cops come to arrest you at your house are going to go, to the camp and be tortured and come out and say that you're a terrorist on the news later. Or be a double agent for them. The torture camps are really about that, to torture you in the camps and then release you as one of their agents later. Or to find innocent people that are weak-minded and just so they can say, oh, they were formerly in a camp, and so you can't believe them now when they get caught, doing something criminal. In fact, most of the Al-Qaeda leading the siege forces all over the Middle East taking over right now and, mutilating women and everything and blowing up the universities and, putting burqas on the women. They were trained in the last 10 years at X-ray. A lot of them were 14 years old. And now they are commanders. U.S. helicopters land, disgorge them with weapons, gold, everything they need to lead the opposition in the takeover. So I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Sir, anything you'd like to add?
No, that's fine. And actually, there's one more point. There's a YouTube video on psychological warfare subversion by ex-KGB propaganda specialist. Yuri Bezmenov.
I've seen it.
I'm not pronouncing.
I've seen it.
It's the destruction of social infrastructure in each single country.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you read a KGB takeover plan, it's exactly what the globalists are following. All their tactics are guerrilla warfare. All their tactics are right out of the Soviet manual. But it's run by bankers. But wait, the mega bankers funded Lenin and Stalin. This is it. They want a breakdown. They'll pose as saviors, mass culling re-education. The Rural Affairs Council under the Pentagon is meant to starve everybody out, posing as saviors. The collaborators will be allowed to operate. It is just going to be hell on earth if they're able to launch it. But they are attempting to launch a Soviet-style collapse re-education. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I ask all the info warriors and the callers that speak more than one language to get the word out, because like you said, you quoted before, we're surrounded, and it doesn't matter where you fire the information, you just make sure it goes out. Doesn't matter which language.
Yeah, that's again the Marine Corps generals surrounded in Korea by roughly 10 times his number. It's probably more, and they said, sir, we're completely surrounded and cut off. And they said, good, now we can attack in all directions. And they were able to fight their way out. But yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, look, I'm not up here theatrically saying this. We've analyzed it all, and I'll go read some Soviet re-education document from the 40s and the 50s where they were taking over countries, and it's word for word what Homeland Security is doing. I mean, it's everything they do is a psychological operation to destroy the country. And it's just so off the charts crazy. I can't believe it's happening. I don't blame people for not believing this. I'm getting chills right now. I appreciate your call. It's so horrible. We should be able to just not do this. Can't we just not do this? Does this has to happen? I mean, why? Why? And so many people are cowardly going to serve this just because it's so scary deep down inside. They're going to make excuses to themselves. Terry in Texas, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Pleasure. I've got a TSA victory story for you.
Okay, tell me.
Well, my daughter was flying internationally last week at a DFW airport, and this was her first time to fly. She was going to be flying by herself.
That's where they went and missed USA's pants, yeah.
Well, that was really a concern, and me and my wife, we were praying about it, and that was really our only concern with her flying internationally. So we get to the airport, we go to the check-in to check in her baggage, and we ask if there's any way we can get in the airport with her because she was flying by herself. And it was myself, my wife, my son, and my daughter, who's 15, and she's really cute, so I just wanted to be along with her. And the lady's like, well, we can give one pass. And so she checks in her bag, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you all passes so you can get in. We start walking up to the gate. You know, I thought they'd be eyeballing my daughter, but it's like they were looking at my son. He was a supermodel coming up to the TSA screening counter. And,
your phone broke up for a minute. Who were they? Pepe Le Pewing?
That was my son.
Oh yeah, that's mainly their favorite. So what else happened?
So we go in there. We go in and they say, okay, you need to go to the right, which is the body scanner. And my wife says, you know, we don't want to do that. So they yell, opt out. And then a guy probably in his 50s comes around and he just grabs us and he says, he's like, don't worry about it, and puts us through the metal detector. And that was it. They didn't touch us. But they were actually body scanning people, and they were groping them after the body scans. And it was just, you know, we got out of there without even being touched.
Well, thank God for that. What they've done more and more is that they know we're at the breaking point, so it's guerrilla warfare. When they know that when you're going to get mad, they back off. When you give in, they do more and more and more and more and more, including taking women's tops off, saying, I want to date with you. They just had to settle a lawsuit. Was it in Amarillo for that? I mean, they are TSA, I'm not joking, folks, will multiple times strip down naked and begin running around screaming, I'm God. I mean, who else wants to act like this all day? Somebody who's got good self-image, intelligent, competent, would be embarrassed to treat anybody like this. But again, this is the psych warfare. If there's a real threat, which of course it's manufactured, you would profile. But they're like, no, we're politically correct. So we take the diaper off a 1-year-old. Or we make an old woman strip search. It's about being outrageous and over the top. What do you think of the group of deaf people coming in from a conference being attacked and being screamed at and called deafies and all this stuff, and having their stuff stolen in front of them?
Oh, it's disgusting. And one thing my daughter said when we got out, she said, you know what, I thought Alex was exaggerating about these people. And you know what, it was worse than we even thought it was going to be. These people look like just, stereotypical pedophiles.
Oh, I know. Listen, if you're walking down a street at night and you see a guy with trash cans coming out the back of a restaurant, you know it's somebody that works there. You know, you instantly look that they're wearing an apron, they've got a hairnet on, whatever. Or if you're walking down an alley to your parked car from a meeting or whatever, and you see giggling women who look like they're drunk, you instantly make a decision, that's girls having fun. It's not even conscious. Okay, there's a guy it's not that I'm living in fear, but if I'm cutting through to get to my car or something at, midnight or something after a business meeting or whatever, and I'm downtown, I'm scanning. So I've scanned, okay, that's a guy taking the trash out. All right, that's some drunk women. All right, that's a male by himself, instant scan, clean cut. Statistically, criminals generally, wear a uniform. That's how stupid they are. Statistically not a threat, but I'll still walk on the other side. But you see 4 or 5 guys, gangbanger type, acting tough, giggling. You can see the predator look, how they'll be bouncing on their toes, whether they're black, white, old, young, Hispanic. It's the same attitude of thinking they're tough. They're sizing you up like a group of wolves. You as a human have instant analysis of what the situation is. And TSA wasn't like this even 5-6 years ago. They are fully now shifting in because normal folks are getting out of there. I've had a lot of them actually come to our rallies and stuff against the TSA. And now it's shifting into the criminals. The body language, the look, everything is these are criminals. And you're absolutely right. And it's a collection of just ne'er-do-well scum. And the globalists knew that. They knew the good people are going to get out, and it's going to be nothing but absolute scum. And this is going to be their new Stasi army to pour out on the streets of America. Final comment on that.
Well, Alex, I believe it was nothing more than the hand of the Lord, and it was like being in that Star Wars where these are not the droids you're looking for. And you know what? It was God with his hand on us, and he just delivered us from our worst fears. And you know what? We're just thankful to him.
Well, thank you. God bless you. And again, folks, if you don't have children, it is scary. A 15-year-old daughter, that would be somewhat scary, but imagine your 3-year-old girl or boy. And, you know, kids don't like strangers to begin with. It's a good instinct. And they take them and go, okay, come over here. And the little kid gets drug away. I've seen it with their arm out towards mama. They're like, stand back, no. And then they take them and put the little kid in a cage. The little kid's scared, looking around, being traumatized. And then here comes the pedo, like an eel coming right up. It's pedo time. I mean, it's incredible. I was thinking of the nerve of all of these different big pharma companies to knowingly sell you drugs that they know are going to kill you and don't even protect you. Whether it's for measles, mumps, rubella, the human papillomavirus, Gardasil, H1N1 flu, they knew it didn't protect you and actually hurt you. That all came out. And here it is in the news. I mean, they knew Luvox or Vioxx would kill a bunch of people. They knew that this, and made tens of billions a year, that this Advair did not protect you, did not help, made asthma worse, and would cause all sorts of endocrine failure and death. And they've paid a tiny fine of what, $1 billion. And they go on to describe in the previous reports, during the same period of time, the U.S. Department of Justice began a lengthy investigation of Glaxo, resulting in recent civil and criminal fines of $3 billion of improper off-label marketing of antidepressants Paxil and Wellbutrin and Advair. And it just goes on. How they sell all this as if it's good for you, knowing it's bad. Folks, they knew in the trials of Prozac that it caused massive increases in suicide and violent activity. They know all this. They know exactly what they're doing. And again, if you study the real world, if you watch my film Endgame or all the reports I've done or that Aaron Dykes has done, I always say the banking cartels are at the top of the New World Order. That's not really true. The globalists get their power out of banking and out of the fact that they can issue unlimited fake currency and credit and different financial instruments, and then control the regulators, and so it's not seen as fraud, but it is fraudulent. So that's where they get their power from, but who they are is Big Pharma. They're obsessed with it, medical tyranny. And it's the big insurance companies, Big Pharma, that on record wrote the healthcare law. And now they're saying they're going to shift. And by the way, my dad is in healthcare. He's in healthcare management as well. So I get to hear about this all the time, about how everything is shifting towards government control and towards drugs, where they're trying to say doctors, dentists, you name it, can't even do the treatments they think are best. You've got to come in and give the treatment. Well, you heard last week, I had Dr. Blaylock on about it. This is social engineering, and this is what's going on. And then I was thinking about the nerve of Google in a press release in 2005 saying we use the microphones and cameras on the computers to listen to you with AI computers, then we sell the data. And we wrote articles about it, and people said, oh, you're insane, this couldn't be true, with a link to their press release on Google's website. Now, here we are 7 years later, it's like, oh yeah, tell me something I don't know. How do we go from that would never happen to, oh yeah, it's no big deal? Driving around worldwide with tens of thousands of Google cars, many of them now robotic. A whole bunch of states have robot cars driving around on them, with these big antennas on top that instantly crack the codes, because they're designed with back doors, they're the NSA, to steal all the data off your computer, your username, passcode, everything. And then what do they